All right, guys, we got to talk about something serious. We got to talk about the Enshittification of Ferrari.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, and this is our dealership energy supercars, and I'm going to make a bunch of you very unhappy today. And actually, I should say, it's not just the Enshittification of Ferrari that we're going to talk about. We're just going to talk about the Enshittification of cars, because it's not just Ferrari doing this, it's everyone. So I don't know if you're like me, but you look around at everything coming out, and in the last 10 plus years, maybe even 15, nothing gets you excited anymore. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, it's got 1,000-something horsepower. Sweet. I can't use that on the street. Oh, yay, they went hybrid. Oh, sweet, we got rid of manual transmissions. Oh, what's that? The computers drive for me now? That's fun. Said no one. So let's talk about what I think is going on, when it all started, and when we went downhill. And it's actually a very specific date. You can actually put it on the calendar. There is a date in history in which Ferrari said, we're going to start enshittifying everything. So stay tuned. Okay, YouTube, the enshittification of nice things, cars that we love. It's been going on for quite a while. So the exact date, I can tell you, is October 21st, I think, or October something of 2015. That is the date that Ferrari went public. So why is that the defining date of the enshittification? Let's talk about what is enshittification and why are we talking about it. So there's actually a book on this, which I plan on reading, but there's been a bunch of videos. If you go on YouTube, you can see that people are talking about the enshittification of the internet, the enshittification of products, the enshittification of companies, work, you name it. Everything kind of is just getting crappier. Why is that? Well, so there's a basic theory that says, when someone starts a company or a product, that's usually someone who's very motivated, they're enthusiastic, they got some ideas that will change the world. So, someone wants to create something cool. So they're very passionate about it and they do all this stuff and they work really hard and they end up hiring passionate people and they end up, maybe not being the best business people because they've never done it before. So maybe they overpay their people or they don't compromise on quality or things like that. So an example might be maybe they choose to use stainless steel for some product instead of using plated, whatever, zinc plated stuff. And so, the durability is really high but the costs are maybe a little bit more and stuff like that. So they start off with good intentions and all this great stuff and everyone's happy and maybe they don't make quite as much money as they could, but you know what? They're happy because they're building their dream. They're doing cool stuff. And then years go by or the product starts taking off and everyone loves it and stuff starts to happen. They have scaling issues. They have funding issues. Maybe they have cash flow issues. The business side becomes a problem. And then they reach out to the business experts. They start bringing in people with experience, people who maybe have done this before, or they bring in third-party financiers. They bring in venture capital and stuff like that. And what do these people want and what do these organizations want? They want profit. They want money. They don't give a rat's ass about the product. They don't give a crap that you are passionate about solving some problem or making some new thing or doing it right or paying your people well and keeping them around. They want money. They want to make profit. And so how do you do that? Maybe instead of stainless steel, we use zinc plated whatever, or instead of doing glass infused nylon, you use crappy plastic injection molding, or, you start paying your key people a little bit less or treating them a little bit worse, or you cut their healthcare benefits, or you just don't, all these things, little tiny things, 1,000 pinpricks at a time, start adding up and snowballing. And next thing you know, the product starts to suck. It starts not being the original thing that it was. I saw a great video talking about Patron tequila. How when they first started, they hired all these really good people that knew how to make amazing tequila. And then they hit the shelves and everyone was like, holy crap, this is the best tequila ever. And then it couldn't scale because it was really expensive. And so they started washing it down with some bullshit, not the same stuff. So if you have any of that original Patron that was made in the very first few years, it's highly desirable, super good. And everything after that kind of went to shit. So there's videos about all sorts of things like this. And the same thing, in my opinion, is happening in the car world a lot, especially with Ferrari. So they're obviously be the focus of this video because that's the stuff we deal with the most. So let's talk about that. If you look at Ferrari's history, when they first were created, it was the exact opposite of what any business person would ever think of when starting a business. Enzo Ferrari was like, hey, I want to race cars and have race teams. And that's really expensive. So let's sell cars to the public to pay for my racing addiction. Great. That's pretty cool. So the cars they made weren't always the greatest, let's admit it. Some of the early stuff, it was beautiful, but they weren't built the best necessarily because, well, they weren't that focused on the production cars. They were worried about the race cars. So then, probably around the 60s or so, they started really productionalizing stuff, dialing it up, making more production cars available to the public. And I would say there was this period of time where the products kept improving because they had to. So, quality went up. They started automating some processes to make them better, but they still retained a bunch of really talented people. All these early cars, like hand-rolled fenders, handmade leather, like the seats were made by hand and all this stuff. And even when they first started doing some of the automated stuff, I'm going to argue quality went up. So it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. So, you look at the history of cars in the Ferrari world, and I'm going to say peak reliability came right around like 2015. And I'm going to say this is the inflection point, is the Ferrari 458. Prior to that, things kept improving. Quality kept going up. Reliability kept going up. The designs kept getting faster and better, and people loved them. The cars kept getting cooler. And every year, or I would say few years, when they would release a new car to the public, everyone wanted it. Everyone would be in line to buy the car. And that's where the whole adage of Enzo Ferrari saying you always build one less car than there are buyers to keep that demand. And that's true. That's where they kind of created this myth of like, oh, you can't get a car because you probably couldn't. Because they had so much demand and everyone wanted it that it wasn't like possible unless you were a repeat customer that they had a relationship. So, things are improving, things are getting better, and then 2015 happens, and they IPO, they go public. And hooray, investors make a crap ton of money, and a bunch of people are making money, and everyone's making money. And the shareholders go, yeah, about that race team. That's really expensive, racing is really expensive. And, Pininfarina, they're pretty expensive too. I know they've been making most of our designs for forever and they're beautiful, but we can do that. We can save some money. We don't need Pininfarina. So that goes away. And great example. Look at the 458. One of the best cars ever. I believe it's the best car ever built. I think it's just peak Ferrari. It's absolutely perfection. And then they're like, traditionally Ferrari, every other production would be a new chassis and every other production would be a different engine. So they would always offset upgrades. So basically 2 generations. So, 308, 328, basically the same chassis, same basic body, same basic interior, different engines. Okay, then they swapped to the 348, totally different chassis and body, kind of like the same engine as the 328, but it's transverse mounted now. And they kind of screw up a little bit, a few things. They figure out some stuff. They improve it. And they make the 355. Again, basically the same body and chassis, but revolutionary engine. 5 valves per cylinder and all this other stuff. But again, some maintenance issues and some other stuff. So they're like, hey, we can solve some of those. So then comes out the 360. Totally revolutionary design. Aluminum chassis, aluminum body, really improve a bunch of stuff. And the engine is another step in the right direction. But they increase the maintainability of the car by adding access panels. So now you don't have to drop the engine. Things are, again, getting better for the consumer. They keep improving. Things are getting better. It's faster. It's lighter. All these good things. Actually, it may not be lighter than the 355, but whatever. You get the point. It's getting better. 430 comes out. Totally new engine. And it's timing chains. Oh my God, we don't even have to do major services anymore because we don't need to. The timing chain lasts almost forever. Great. Way more horsepower. Again, improving reliability, improving maintainability. Car keeps getting better, looks better, design improvements. And then they take that and they evolve that into the 458. Basic same engine platform, but now direct injection. A lot more horsepower, higher revving. The chassis is even better. Suspension improved. Everything keeps getting better. And now it's 2015 and they say, oh, well, we got to make shareholders happy. So how about we do an evolution on the engine, but we're not really going to change the body hardly at all. So 458 and the 488 look very similar, but now they're like, let's throw turbos in there because we need more horsepower. And everyone's chasing the horsepower wars because this is the 20 teens. And so, okay, and people are like, I'm not totally in love with the turbo thing. I do like the body. It looks good. It's basically a 458, so we're not unhappy with that, but it wasn't really a big evolution. And so it wasn't met with as much enthusiasm. For the first time, it was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, and the weird thing was, like, you could kind of get them. You didn't have to be a special customer. You didn't have to have a special relationship. You could actually get them. Then the F8 comes out. And for the first time ever, they reuse the same platform for the third time. It's basically a 48 with a body lift. So basically the same engine. Interior's improved a bit. Exterior's improved quite a bit. And I'll admit, F8 looks tremendous. I think it's the last great Ferrari. It's awesome. It's really fun. It's really fast. It's drivable. The computers are doing quite a bit of work for you, but you know what? It's still really cool. I like the car. And you could actually get them. You didn't have to be on the special list. You could go into a Ferrari dealership and order one. You would wait a long time, but you could get one. And then what happens? Screw that V8. Get rid of it. We're going to go to a hybrid V6. We're going to go with the 296, throw away a long history of making V8s because we can make more money. We can charge more for the car and make a ton of them. And they do. They make a crap ton of 296s. And I'm going to be clear. I like the 296. I think it's really fun to drive. But I think it's a step in the wrong direction. And I don't think Ferrari was caring about customer feedback. They were caring about profit and shareholders. And that's just the V8 stuff. So you can go with the V12 stuff as well. And you can see the same pattern kind of emerging. And same with their hypercars. A lot of them just kind of fizzled out. They weren't met with as much fanfare. F80 is a love or hate kind of car. I'm sure it's fast and amazing. But I don't see people really salivating to get it. There's not really the posters on the wall anymore. So they started chasing profits. They started producing tons of stuff. Then they're like, hey, you know what? We need an SUV. Everyone's got an SUV. So we should make an SUV because SUV. Yeah. And it's not really that inspired looking. It's okay. And I guess it's got a Ferrari V12, which is cool, but it's really expensive. And maybe this is the fault of emissions and stuff, but they're still chasing shareholders, and they release the Lucha, and no one likes it. No one I know who is a gearhead looks at that car and says, wow, that's an attractive car. Nobody. No one I know is like, oh, I have to have one. And I get the point that Ferrari said. They're trying to attract new and different customers, but that's chasing profit at the expense of your existing market. And I think it's short-sighted. I think, yes, they are going to make a bunch of Luchas and sell them to a bunch of tech bros who made money on Bitcoin and whatever. But it's not us. It's not the car enthusiasts who have been buying their stuff and seeing their cars in magazines and dreaming about them and having posters on the wall and watching videos about them and all this stuff, creating this entire ecosystem about how excited we are for these cars. And they killed it. They absolutely destroyed that goodwill and that energy and the momentum. And it's sad. And Ferrari's not the only one. I mean, my God, look at Jaguar. Talk about the ultimate failure in marketing. They have one of the best historical brands in the car world. Racing pedigree, beautiful designs, universally loved for how beautiful the cars are. Enzo Ferrari himself said that 60s Jaguar, he said, was the most beautiful car ever. Everyone loves Jaguar. And then they're like coming out with this thing. And they're like, oh, we're not even going to make gas engines anymore. What are you doing? Look at BMW. BMW is like, you know what we need? More grill. We don't need a kidney-shaped grill that's this big. We need a kidney-shaped grill that's that big. It's awful. God, it's awful. Yeah, I just all the car brands, except for a few. There is one exception to the rule right now, and I hate saying this, and saying this is going to make me want to throw up a little bit in my mouth, but Corvette, they're the only ones that did it right in the last few years. They improved the car, they made it better. I'm not a fan of the looks, I'll be honest, it's a little bit too much, but the driving excitement and characteristics of that car are more fun as an enthusiast than they were in the previous generation. The C7 to C8, C8 is a far better experience as a enthusiast. The only thing it's missing is a manual transmission, but we'll go beyond that. It's a really good car. So many other brands fall into the same boat. Gotta make the shareholders happy. Gotta go into the trends of electric bullshit. Gotta, look at the electric Charger. What a complete like it. I don't know if you've seen Cleus McFarlane's videos on the electric Charger they bought, but it literally, I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize it was that bad. Like adding the fake sound and all this crap. And I'm thinking to myself, who buys this thing? I'm sorry if you own one, but like they're so bad they can't even sell them. And he bought it for 50% off. He literally got it half off MSRP because no one wants to buy the damn thing. This is where we're at. We're at the enshittification of cars. And so what is that causing? That is the reason why we are seeing the late 90s, early 20 up to 20 teens, I'm going to say. Those cars are all skyrocketing in value. Not just Ferraris. A lot of them. All the enthusiast cars. Because those are the cars that are actually fun. Those are cars we actually want. Those are cars that look great. Those are cars that made us have pictures on the wall, read magazines before the internet, watch videos when the internet came out, all that stuff that we did, and just dream about them and enjoy them and actually want to own them. And that's why people aren't selling them. So we have demand exceeding supply because of the enshittification of cars. It's as simple as that. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments below. Give me your arguments of what am I missing, what's going on. But I believe this is a thing. This is unfortunately how things are going. Most of the cars aren't heading in the right direction for us, the enthusiasts. And it's kind of sad and depressing. But you know what? It is what it is. And I'm glad that we still have those cars from that generation. I think it's going to be reveled as a special era of cars for enthusiasts. And we'll never see it again. So, do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe. Comment below. Talk about this. Let me know your thoughts. What else is being enshittified? So do me a favor. Visit normalguysupercar.com, our parts and services, and NG Supercars, our dealership websites. We do appreciate all of your support. We'll see you in the next one where we're doing a lot of cool car stuff. You're going to want to stay tuned. It's going to be sweet.